I had to shell out a pretty penny for something recently, actually.
Did you now?
Yes, I had to shell out a pretty penny to go see one of these newfangled musicals that they're putting on a street in this town that I'm living in. I don't know if you have heard of it. It's called Broadway Street. And
Never heard of it.
the show that I've recently seen, the thing that I've recently finished, which I believe, Hannah, you've also finished too, but not on Broadway Street. Probably just boring Australian named street,
Spring
like Johnston Street.
The judgment.
I finished Hadestown.
Way down, Hadestown, way down under the ground.
Yeah.
Now, this is a musical that you, Hannah, have you were trying to get me into this like 2 years ago when I was in your production of Heathers.
Yes, I was. Yeah.
You said listen to the cast recording. You'll be obsessed with this. You'll love it.
I believe, no, there's actually a method to listen to Hadestown. I told you, listen to the original concept album and then the New York workshop album and then the original Broadway recording.
Really?
And I did
None of that.
I did none of that. It sounded too complicated to me, so I completely
I actually
ignored
laid
your
it out in
instructions.
steps for you, but that's okay. That's fine.
No, it was actually one of those things, because you were recommending it so highly. I thought, well, I'll see this at some point. I knew that it was going to come to Australia at some point. I didn't know that I wouldn't be there when it was coming to Australia. But I thought I'll see it live and in person. And I've just gone and done that. This is a kind of, I don't know, it's a solid new music. It's like the new musical that everyone's loving post Hamilton, I guess. Hannah, can you give the listeners a breakdown of what Hadestown is?
Hadestown actually started as, and this is like a special interest of mine, so I'm about to
Oh boy, I'll
I'm
settle
about
in.
to special interest all over y'all. No, it started as a concept album written by a very, I don't really want to even call her small, like an indie artist in England. And it's about the Greek myth of Orpheus and Eurydice and how Eurydice went to Hades and Hades was like, yeah, you can have her back if you walk out of hell and you don't look behind to check if she's there. So that's the myth, very basically. And then Persephone's there and she's great. So it's that, but set in like a post-apocalyptic world where everything on the surface, the seasons have, I guess, taken over. I don't know.
Fucked.
The seasons are fucked.
Like, because
of global warming,
Persephone
basically.
is the bringer. Yeah, it's the global warming.
global
but like
warming.
Persephone is like the bringer of light and spring and life, and because she goes down to Hades for a certain amount of time of the year, and it's getting longer.
It's getting longer and longer.
Up on the
So
surface world.
Everyone's
getting
starving,
winter
everyone's
all the time.
cold. And so Eurydice, as they say, a lot in the show is a hungry young girl. And she meets Orpheus, and Orpheus is your classic lil sad artist boy, lil music man, who's going to write the song that is going to fix the world.
Yes, yeah.
Which he hyperfixates on. And just starts to ignore his responsibilities and ignore the woman that he's just said that he'll marry.
A la Rent.
Yeah, yeah. So then she's like, well,
la
I've got to
Hannah?
eat. Hey,
Sorry.
I would never.
What?
Why would you say that? This is...
No, I was just saying, like, you're getting married, and then you were like, no, I'm going to focus on this
I'll
for
have you
multiple
know,
months.
just slight segue. I'll have you know that whilst I have been doing my show, you should see the spreadsheet of all the things that I have booked. So listen up, buddy.
Also working full time, correct?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm actually
Yeah.
quite organised.
No, you're the thing is, you're completely capable, and you're able to, like, you know, put on a production and be in it, and then also have your day job, and then also be, you know, getting prepped to be getting married. And
Thank you. I am
that's
very capable.
amazing and commendable. I'm just poking fun. For the
I
sake of
know,
poking
and it's
fun.
great. We're riffing. But back to Hadestown.
This is
Listeners,
a
they're
riff,
fighting.
This is a riff.
They're going to draw blood any second.
This
It's
is
not
actually
a riff.
how Jett and I
I'm
communicate.
gonna draw blood with this golden nail that I found while surfing.
You're going to de-bleed. No, this is just how Jett and I communicate. It's usually in yells at each other. And it's
Yeah, we're
very
being
loving.
very,
we're being very
Oh, this is
tame.
civil, is it?
It's very
in that
civil.
way, yeah.
No, where are we up to in Hadestown? So then Eurydice decides that she's hungry, and then Hades pops up and he's like, hey, kiddo, do you want to come down and work for me in Hades? And she's like, yeah, okay. So she goes, works for him in Hades. And then Orpheus is like, hey, where's my girl? And Hermes, who's also there, is like, yeah, look, your girl was sick of starving. So she decided to go somewhere where there's food and warmth and shelter.
Well, less food and warm and shelter, more like you don't need to eat.
You don't
like you're
need to
dead,
eat,
so you
she's
have
dead.
none of those.
So
you know,
she
you
went
have
to
none of those
safety.
needs.
She went to
Yeah.
where her belly would be full because she's dead. And then Orpheus follows her down there, and the following out fails because he turns around. That's basically what the show is. But it started as a concept album where you got none of that. You just sort of had the songs to give you context. And then they took it to New York, did a New York workshop, and then they brought it to Broadway, and it just cleaned the floor at the Tonys, which is very amazing. Like watching it from being shown it by an ex-boyfriend, to then seeing it be so successful on Broadway. But yeah, it's basically, it's the myth, but I think it's very relevant to today because there's literally when it premiered on Broadway was when the old orange guy in the Oval Office was in his first term, and he was talking about building the wall. And there's actually a song about why do we build the wall. It's very relevant to what's happening today.
So was that written before?
Yeah.
Because when I was watching this, I was like, man, this is pretty heavy-handed in its
No,
like,
that's
I don't
on
know,
the original
references to
concept
political
album.
events. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a whole song. It's like, why do we build the walls to keep, the have-nots out and keep the haves in?
Yeah, and it's to have a job and have industry. And the way that song is written, it's written in the style of like old chain gang call and response songs. So it's very, very relevant. But yeah, no, she wrote it years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
a lot
the
of
more
this
things
music,
change,
it's very,
the more
it's
it's
southern, it's folk, it's very New Orleans vibe. It's amazing. I've been obsessed with it, and it's I don't know, it's not a genre of music that I actively listen to a lot, but it's one that I really appreciate and do have a lot of affinity for. So as gross as it kind of is to be like, this musical theatre production is a great entry point to this sort of genre, instead of just like engaging with the actual genre, it is kind of a good, I don't know, entry point and a way to start listening to more of that stuff, if that's your vibe or you think it might be. Because man, it's some good music. Like that Southern folk, it's fantastic.
Yeah. And I think the musicians you have to have, I remember when it first was coming to the New York workshop, I was like, oh, I'm nervous about this being turned into a musical because what if they're all too clean? Like the band has to be dirty. Like you've got to be able to get dirty.
Dirty.
Yeah.
And it sounds dirtier than, I think, because I have listened to a bit of the original concept album. It sounds dirtier than the original does.
Yeah.
Which is great. They had so in the production that I saw, they had the band on stage, which is great. That was at the same, because you went and flew to Sydney, Hannah, to go see it.
Yeah, so I saw it at the what's the Sydney theatre called? The Royal something? I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. No one remembers the names of the Sydney stuff.
Nah, mate. Yeah, they had. I think that's a very classic thing to do in Hadestown is to have the band on stage because the band is part of the production. Like Persephone, literally in her Act 1 starter song, she gets the audience to acknowledge and clap the members of the band. Like they are part of the production. So yeah, they're on the stage for this one as well.
Yeah.
All right, you two. It's my job here to take on the role of resident cynic because you two have both seen it and I have not seen it, which is fine. And I look forward to seeing it when it arrives in Melbourne. Yeah, no, well, I'm taking on that role.
So fired up.
I've heard this described a few times and I am yet to get it. Why is it good? Is it just a combination of all of the stagecraft coming together really well? Is it the metaphor? Is it just the music that's actually the best bit? Like, why? Why is it actually good? Actually, really, though?
I've been like grappling with that a bit myself, that question. I think, like, I'd say the characters are really good, and some of them really are. Honestly, I found Orpheus to be a bit boring, and kind of the thing that we were talking about before, about if you're doing a production for a long time, like, how do you keep this spark alive? It felt a bit like Orpheus and Eurydice were going through the motions, or maybe it was just rushed. Maybe it's just the pacing of the actual show because it does move at quite a clip. But I didn't get, a lot of the characters were fantastic. I'd say all of the characters were fantastic, but I don't think it was the characters that were a massive standout. The music was really, really good. I didn't have anything that really blew me away, but it was like a combination of all of its parts. Like the sum is greater. No, it's greater than the sum of its parts. Is that the phrase?
Yep.
If I got all the golden nails and put them together
At the surf
and melted them
camp.
down, then I'd have a chunk of gold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they can become a drag
I
queen.
could throw it at surfers.
Yeah.
Yeah. That
Hannah?
thing.
I think that It's the perfect musical because it's what musical theatre should be about, which is community.
Boo, lame.
No. Listen,
Okay.
that's why I love Cats.
All right, never mind. You're off the pod.
I would like to
Because-
All of your
my
opinions are null and
Boo,
void.
lame.
Hey, listen, because a musical should not be about highlighting one single person. It should not be about this is a story about one person. It should be telling a complete tale from start to end where every single person on stage is important. And I think that Hadestown achieves that. I think that when you are watching Hadestown, you genuinely care about every single player on the stage, the band included, and you're completely immersed in the world and there's nothing that can pull you out of that world. And I think the way the story flows is so seamless. There's no start, there's no end. It's the story itself is a
Yeah.
complete circle.
As
and
in, we already know what's going to happen.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
This story's 2,000 years old.
Yeah, but it's also the way that they acknowledge at the end of the show that it'll just go back to the start. This is how it will always end. This is how it will always start. It's told in a circle, and I think that them actually acknowledging this is a story, this is how it will always end. And we know it's sad, but it's just what it is a very interesting acknowledgement that that's what life is as well. And I like the music's amazing, but I think the thing that makes this musical so special is that it can make those observations about the world around us while also helping us poke fun at what's going on in the world around us, but while also making us think about our own place in the world around us, our own relationships, and it's about the community, man.
Okay. I hate both of your answers for the record, but I'm willing to
Why do you hate
No, fascinating. That does
Yeah.
give me more insight than what I've heard from like descriptions of the story or of the different production elements. So thank you, everybody.
I can tell you the moment in which the ball dropped for me where I was like, oh, this is amazing and I'm in this. Because I feel like every new thing that I experience where I have a lot of emotional weight already put in, because this was like, okay, I paid the money to see this on Broadway. It's come from a high recommendation from people that I mostly care about.
And also from Hannah.
That's what, yes. And then...
I think I have to go now.
So I'm like sitting in my seat, and for the first half hour, I'm like, God, I really hope I love this, you know? Or should I have listened to the concept album 2 years ago, realized it wasn't for me, and then just skipped out on this? And so I have that internal struggle that's going on, and this is not unique to Hadestown. It happens for anything that I have an opinion beforehand that I'll like something, and I have my fingers crossed. So it wasn't until there's a moment in this, I think it's near the end of Act 1, where I guess spoilers for Hadestown. Even though, once again, the story has been spoiled, but this is more of an experiential spoiler. When the characters, when the scene shifts to go from above ground to below ground, this industrial hell that Hades has constructed in this period of time where Persephone hasn't been around, he's like, oh, I'm going to make my industry really secure and be very, I don't know what the profits are, but there's clearly some sort of profit incentive to industrializing hell. You drop down and you have this scene that's been been quite small, I guess. It's quite a tight stage, which I'm like, this is nice. This is kind of intimate, but it isn't really blowing me away. But there was a lot of attention to detail. But then as we move down into the underworld, all the walls just start shifting back. And like some of them are raising. And so you just have the whole scene expand and become a different scene entirely. All of this piping and like red and orange lights of this industrial hell are revealed through the breakaways of what were previously the walls. And it's just an incredible moment. I liken it to the moment in The Cursed Child where the Dementors drop down from the ceiling and like you have the glowing of the Dark Mark and all of this Death Eater UV graffiti around the whole wall of the theater that you didn't realize was around you. It felt like that. I was like, I didn't realize that this was here. This is a pulling the wool over your eyes moment.
Yeah.
But taking the wool off your eyes. You had wool put over your eyes when you walked in the theater, and then they took it off.
You found the golden needle.
Yes.
Yeah, it was in your
I
eye.
found the golden needle.
Yeah.
It was in my eye.
It was in your
I'm
eyes the
very
whole
bad
time.
at building surfboard houses out of golden nails.
And that's
Yeah.
what makes you a
Because that's
good
not my
drag
skill set.
queen.
I'm a drag queen.
Exactly.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
The set and the way that I guess you can do it if you've got the money
Yeah.
behind you.
Must be nice.
The spectacle is insane. Like the whole spectacle of the whole show is insane. Same in the Sydney Royal, the lyric. I don't know. The one in Sydney, same with that. And I hope that they obviously translate that when I go see it later in the year in Melbourne. I'm sure they will. But the cast is also just amazing. The Australian cast, I will say, was insanely good.
Yeah.
Like the talent. And I was a bit concerned when I heard it was coming to Australia. I was like, please, for the love of God, will you cast people that can handle these roles? And they did. So I was very
In terms
good.
of singing or emotion?
In terms of
or
everything,
physicality?
in terms of singing, in terms of physicality, in terms of emotion, in terms of dancing, in terms of like actually understanding and not just going through the motions. That's my problem with a lot of Melbourne professional theatre is it's just like you have either been prop cast, you're cast because you're a name, or you haven't done any thinking or study or made any attempt to understand the character that you're playing. So, and actually that's probably one of my big gripes with Melbourne amateur theatre as well. There's no effort put in to actually understand the character that you're playing. It's just like, I really like this song, so I'm going to audition for this musical. It's like, well, do you get what you're talking about? So I appreciated that everyone seemed to be in it. Actually, they had a fully formed character that wasn't just a copy of what they'd seen from the Broadway production.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That being said, it would have been pretty good if it was a copy of the Broadway production because the cast and like the I don't know, just the insane acting ability of the people on that stage was crazy.
Who did you have?
So I actually have the playbill right here with me. Yeah. Had Daniel Breaker as Hermes, was very, very good. You know, it was in Hamilton. Hamilton, Book of Mormon, The Performers, Shrek the Musical. I'm going to end it there because that's a good way to end that list. As Hermes. Persephone was Merle Dandridge, and she, Reuben, you're going to love this.
Yeah, Last of Us.
Played Marlene in The Last of Us. So that was
Both the game
amazing.
and
I'm
the
only
show.
realizing that now as I look through
As soon as you said that, I was like, I'm going to one Merle.
Tom Hewitt as Hades was fantastic, an incredible voice. You have to get someone who's really imposing, not only like physically, but very much with their voice for
you need
Hades.
a true bass for that.
Yeah. Like it's rare when you see a true bass on stage, but you're like, oh yeah, no, this is hitting this
You are the bass of the basses, my friend.
Yeah. Hayley Kilgore was Eurydice. She was fantastic. She was really, really good. And the one that I was watching the whole time, Orpheus, played by Carlos Valdez.
You had Carlos, okay. I've heard mixed things about him.
Okay, I was eyeing him the whole time. I was like, I fucking know you from somewhere. Where have I seen you? Where have I seen this man? He played the character Cisco Ramon on the CW's The Flash, a show that I was obsessed with for about 4 seasons of it.
Oh, yeah, okay, interesting.
He eventually became the superhero
4
named
seasons.
as Vibe,
Vibe.
so that's fun.
Vibe, short for vibrator.
I think so. I think you could like vibrate through things. So yes,
Very
I know
handy
you're making a joke, but
superpower
yes.
to have.
Very handy superpower.
I don't like it.
But it was a fantastic cast.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. I really liked what Carlos, but I was also,
Well, I've never actually watched any
Predisposed
videos.
to
I just know
liking
there's
him.
like, I see in like TikTok comment sections like, oh, I had Carlos, he wasn't that good. I'm like, and then I want to comment to them being like, could you do that?
Yeah.
Do you think that you could go up and do that? Because it's actually a very vocally hard role, and you sitting at home commenting on TikToks is probably like the the closest you're going to get to being in Hadestown, babe.
yeah.
I just think my thing with Hadestown is I don't think it needs polished performers. I think they need to be a little bit scrappy. So I think that like I'm really glad that the casting, whoever's been casting it for all over the world, has actually made an effort to find people instead of being like the most polished, amazing performer, like someone that you chuck in like, I don't know, Wicked or Legally Blonde. Like they're getting people that actually have the spirit to do it, and their voices are a bit different because it's not your stock standard musical theatre music. It's like stuff that you'd hear in New Orleans. It's like dirty music, so people with the ability to get a little bit dirty with their vocals.
And I'm really liking that there seems to be more genre expansion in the musical theatre world. I wouldn't even know what to call stock standard musical theatre songs, like what genre that is.
I would just call that show
musical
tunes.
theatre.
Like
show tunes.
When someone says to me, "Oh, you listen to show tunes," I'm like, actually incorrect. I listen to Hadestown mainly. But it's like when I think of like stock standard musical theatre, I think of like, oh yeah, it's show tunes, flashy, big numbers. I wouldn't class Hadestown as being in like the show tune genre.
I would call it Andrew Lloyd Webber bullshit.
That would be
mine.
Andrew Lloyd Webber. It's one of my favorite musicals is Jesus Christ Superstar. But like I get the hate.
That's currently in Melbourne.
I know, I'm really excited
go
to see
see
it.
it?
Of course I'm going to go see it.
Yeah, good.
Although in saying that, it's very rare that I see a production of Jesus Christ Superstar that I actually like. So I'm interested.
Can never live up to the perfect version in your head.
Well, there's no perfect version in my head. Like Jesus Christ Superstar is just Jesus Christ Superstar. But I always hate it every time I've seen it, especially the amateur productions I've seen. I don't know.
Okay.
That's really hard vocally, right?
Oh yeah, because it's not like stock standard show tunes. It's a rock opera because it's not like a Lordy Lloyd production. I think it was him and Tim Rice. So it's rock music. But on that different genres, have you guys listened to /seen / know about Come From Away?
Yes, my favorite musical.
I saw it for the first time last night. I did not know anything about it. I'd never listened to it. I think I read the synopsis
You have to go
once.
into that one without knowing the soundtrack.
Yeah, so I went and saw it last night at a theatre company in like Bayswater that did it. Wow.
I can't believe we've been wasting our time with your fucking show and this Hadestown bullshit when we could have been talking about Come From Away.
And do you know what I loved about that show?
What?
And I'm going to get really cheesy with you, Reuben.
What?
The community.
Yes!
No,
It
you
was
got
the
Reuben on board.
community.
No, Reuben.
No, it was the perfect ensemble musical, and I am such a slut for an ensemble.
Yes.
Oh my God, every single person on that stage was important. I wanted to watch them all. I cared about all their stories, and the music was great. Yeah, I'm such a Come From Away fan
again,
now.
the band coming on, the accents, the fact that it's all true just gives it that tinge of like, how? Like you couldn't write this, but my disbelief remains suspended because it happened.
Yeah.
And just like, I care some of those people feel real. I've seen that show from like halfway back in the stalls, and I've seen it from like row 2 on the side, and I felt like every single one of them was making direct eye contact with me every time. I love that musical.
Happened to me a couple of times last night. I was like,
Someone gave me a little smile.
Yeah, I enjoyed it very much. And
Amazing.
that is a different, I would not class that as show tunes. I would class that as like traditional folk music almost. Like it gets dirty.
The ugly stick?
Yeah. The music gets dirty and it's not afraid to get dirty. And I don't feel like you need clean, perfect vocalists to do that show. You need people that have seen some shit and their voices have seen some shit. No, I loved it. I'm such a convert. Which, not that I was staying away from it. I just don't think that
hadn't come across it.
I just was like, oh yeah, I'll get to it. And then I went and saw it last night and I was like, oh my God.
And it's so good to go into blind because while I enjoy listening to the music now, it does not have the same impact at all. And it's almost like one of the only musicals where I'm like, this isn't sung through and I wouldn't want it to be at all. Like I enjoy the parts that are a little more like a play, but then it retains the like pace and like kind of roller coaster quality of a great musical. And
there were a couple of moments in it where I thought, especially there was a couple of scenes where it was focusing on the two couples. And I thought, I'm like, okay, we're about to get a musical number about they're an existing couple and they're a new couple. And then they didn't. It was just a dialogue moment and they walked off stage and I was like, love that. Love that. Did not expect that. Yeah, I loved it. It was so good. And everyone was important.
Everyone gets a moment to shine. Everyone gets like one song or a beautiful monologue.
Community.
I'm on board.
That's what it's about, man.
Well, here's the thing. Hannah, after I saw Hadestown, I did message you, and then you're like, how was it? And I was like, it was great. And then you said, this is what musical theatre should be, right?
Yeah.
Those were
Those are my words.
Your words. And then I responded by saying, "Motherfucker, like this is what musical theatre is. Like this is the new wave of musical theatre."
Hard disagree.
I think we have a bunch of different weird stuff like Come From Away, like Hadestown. I think it was sort of, shot out of a cannon with Hamilton to say, yeah, you can do genres that aren't traditionally put in musicals. And that's been really great for the expression of musical theatre. And I'm finding it hard to believe that this is, these are small instances of greatness and not a new wave of a golden era of musical theatre. Not to put so much like gravitas on the next.
I hope it is the golden
10,
needle.
15 years.
I hope it is. I hope we all become drag queens and go to surf camp. But I don't know. Like, I think when I said this is what musical theatre should be, I have seen a lot of instances. And I think my tolerance for bullshit has gone away because I've been in the theatre community for so long. I've seen a lot of instances of shows where I know for a fact that company is just putting that on for a money grab and no one on that stage cares what they're doing. No one on that stage understands any intention behind what they're singing. It's like when people do Shakespeare and they don't know what their dialogue means. And you can tell because they're just bleeding out their lines in a fancy voice. And it's like, have you actually done the work to understand what you mean? So I think that I've seen multiple productions over the years, and it is not to do with money. I ran a theatre company for 7 years on a budget of about $20 and still managed to achieve some kind of community feeling on stage. It's nothing to do with money. It's to do with the people at the helms letting their ego drive what they're doing instead of making it about the group of people that they're directing.
It sounds like what you're saying then is that the issue is with community theatre more so than professional theatre.
Oh, well,
which is a
professional
crazy
theatre is
take.
different. Professional theatre is different because it's like professional theatre, these people are paid to be happy on stage, right? So, of course, they're going to be happy on stage. My issue is with community theatre because I think that they're just throwing crap on stage and hoping that it sticks.
We should de-socialize theatre is what you're saying, and make sure that the entirety of the space is capitalized and for profit.
That's right. Lock the gate, build the wall, no new entrants.
Yeah.
Yep. That's what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. Make
You heard it
everything
here first. Hannah's anti-community.
everything for profit. If you can make a golden needle out of that, why wouldn't you?
And then stab all the poor people with it.
Yeah, I hate the poor. I hate them.
And that's the moral of this section, talking about Hadestown, I guess. I really like this show. I recommend it to people if you're in Melbourne or Sydney or in New York, I think, is the town that I saw it in.
Oh yeah.
If you're
On
there,
Broadway
you
Street.
can also check it out there.
I'm familiar, yeah.
Yeah, I highly recommend. Reuben, you should see it when it comes to Melbourne. I'd love to.
I'm definitely going
hear
to.
your
Yeah.
take.
Yeah, definitely see it.
I do think that you'll have. I feel a bit bad about spoiling the underworld moment because I think that you'd really like that.
There's
so just
plenty
try
of
and
other
forget it.
moments. There's plenty of other
There's
moments.
plenty of other moments. There's a moment where
Don't say them all.
Jett, stop.